This is the rags to riches tale of a band of baboons. Led by Bob and Barry, the clan is on the move, looking for a taste of the good life. But it's a journey that can only get them into trouble. Will these resourceful monkeys find the promised land? For over 50 years, survival has captured spectacular images of the natural world. Now we use the very best to bring you stories of animals as they could occur in the wild. On the plains of East Africa, a team of bandits are on the move. The clan is led by Bob the boss. There are around 30 animals in the group, with a few key characters. Beatrice is Bob's favourite female. Right now, she sports his latest baby, a little boy called Beanie. She's still accompanied by a slightly older daughter, Blossom. Bob's sidekick is his younger brother, who acts as his henchman, Barry. Betty is a lower-ranking female who has a daughter called Belle. And then there is the young rascal, Bart. Their lives can be chaotic and noisy, but always colourful. Like a living soap opera, there's always someone bickering or sucking up for a favour. But thick or thin, they stick together. The whole gang enjoy the good life, protected from many dangers by a national park. Though they always seem to be looking for more. Leaving the park could create new opportunities, but also bring great danger. At first glance, they are model baboons, typically resourceful and adaptable. These social primates have evolved for life on the plains. The troop is made up of smaller gangs, each with their own hierarchy. Every morning, Bob's bunch follow him into the scrubby grassland to feed. Baboons spend most of their time with their heads down, using dexterous hands to pick up the tiniest seeds, leaves and grasses that make up the bulk of their diet. Sitting down leaves both hands free for double helpings. Staying close to the trees, the gang often run into their smaller cousins, vervet monkeys. Big male baboons have been known to kill monkeys, and the vervets tend to keep to themselves. Being much smaller, the vervets are more vulnerable to attack and stay close to the trees. Like the baboons, they have close family ties and work together to protect the clan. It's rare for different species to play, but Blossom's keen to break the language barrier. However, vervets seem to prefer their own company. If tensions rise, the monkeys have light weight on their side and can get up into the thinnest branches, too small to support the big baboons. The clan is made up of good climbers too, though, and they are quick to exploit any fruiting trees. Bart's a messy eater, but nothing goes to waste. Even the biggest locals make the most of having baboons around. Elephants eat more than 300 pounds of food a day. Even for giants, sometimes the best bits are out of reach, unless dropped by a baboon. Beanie's squabbling with one of his cousins, a male of a similar age. Baboons have carefully developed hierarchies, and these fights will gain Beanie's social status. Well, if he wins. Similar wrestling matches are carried out on a larger scale. Young elephant bulls test one another's strength. An elephant calf can't find a suitable sparring partner, so it takes it out on the baboons instead. Saved by a tree. Having elephants hanging around can be a pain at times, but there is some compensation. With such big and dangerous animals in the area, predators are likely to stay out of the way. As long as they can avoid mischievous trunks, the baboons take full advantage of their thick-skinned bodyguards. Other large animals are similarly useful. Giraffes are living watchtowers. Their enormous eyes, positioned 18 feet above the ground, mean they are usually the first to spot any dangers. Plus, they're not as high maintenance as the elephants. Baboons are pretty good at taking advantage of everything around them. The clan is so resourceful that they can even find ways to exploit food that's out of bounds for others. Stinging nettles are tasty but well-armed plants. But baboons have something that most other animals do not: hands. By rolling the leaves between their palms, the baboons can break off the stings before putting them into their sensitive mouths. Belle watches carefully to see how her mother does it. For 2 years, she'll shadow Betty, learning every trick in the trade. But the clan is restless. They are always on the move, looking for greener pastures. When they go to forage in more open grassland, they must be on high alert. The troop is so large that there are always eyes watching for danger. This is part of their cooperation strategy. Each little gang has its own relationship and partners, but they all hang out together for added protection. The stone proves a boring toy, so he tries his tail. Bart is in danger. What he really needs is a playmate. He tries Uncle Barry. The pair is so distracted they don't spot the developing threat. Will anyone notice? Lions hunt in coordinated prides, but they don't often try their hunting tactics on baboons because there's always someone on guard. The lion has been spotted. A bark and the whole troop's on the alert. They dash for cover. Big male baboons sometimes gang up and mob lions, but this time Bob leads the gang back to the trees. Little Beanie is worn out by all the excitement and naps on his mother's back. It's a relief to get to the tranquility of the waterhole, and here the little male is allowed to wander and join the other youngsters. After a hug from Big Sis Blossom, he investigates the waterhole. He's still drinking Mum's milk and isn't used to muddy puddles. He tries to copy the big boys, but ends up with mud on his face. Unlike many primates, the baboons are fond of water, and on a hot summer's day, a nice dip is just what the youngsters need to cool off. Their woodland home seems like a peaceful place to raise a family. Unfazed by the baboons, a giraffe gives birth in the middle of Bob's clan. A young male is curious about the goings-on. But when the calf finally drops, it proves too much. Giraffe calves are remarkably rubbery, and it's just as well, as their first taste of life is a 6-foot drop. But the young calf is unfazed and instinctively tries to find its feet. Mastering those long legs is no easy task. But amazingly, it will be up and running within an hour. The plains are so lush that other animals will travel for many miles to share the riches. Hundreds of gazelles arrive every year, closely watched by the clan. The herbivores have come here to exploit the rich grassland, but also because this is the time that females are preparing to give birth. At this time, the mother is very vulnerable to attack from predators. All of the females calve at the same time as a protection strategy. It's a baby boom. Though exhausted by the stress of labor, the mother gazelle urgently moves to encourage her baby to its feet. But even as the infant struggles to raise its head, it's attracting some deadly interest. Baboons will try their hand at just about anything. Their adaptability to exploit every resource in their environment has been the key to their success. To maintain a good supply of protein in their diets, the clan will even kill. Bob has his eye on the fawn. Can he catch it? Bob and his troop of baboon bandits are omnivores. They know every plant, its leaves, seeds, roots, and tubers. But for protein, they turn to the animal kingdom and will eat just about anything they can catch. When Thompson's gazelles give birth, the babies have an instinct to lie perfectly still in the grass while their mothers graze. They can escape the attentions of most predators, but not the sharp-eyed baboons. The fawn makes a dash toward its mother. Bob has snatched the baby. This is a much sought-after resource, and Bob wolfs down the meat as quickly as possible before anyone else notices. Too late. Slowly, he's gaining an audience. There is a limit to how fast he can eat. Baboon's teeth are not designed for eating large animals. He can't easily chew through the skin, so he peels the fawn like a banana to get at the softer meat within. One of the large males from another clan has sided up to Bob. They seem to be queuing for their share. Barry, his brother, is quickly by his side, as much for handouts as help. When you have riches, suddenly everyone's your best friend. Though often considered violent, baboons rarely hit one another. Most fights are bravado and a lot of noise. Nonetheless, Bob doesn't take the chance. He makes a dash with the booty. Bob enjoys a full meal, meat and 2 veg. His favourite female, Beatrice, is the only one brave enough to ask for a helping. How could Bob resist? Bob's the boss. He treats Beatrice like royalty, and so must everyone else in the troop. Baboon society is all about rank. Beatrice's babies will grow up to inherit her status. No matter how much sucking up and back-scratching Bart does, he'll never gain full respect in the gang. He was born to the wrong mother. From top to bottom, the low-ranking females like poor Betty are below all others and will always be pushed off the best feeding spots. All males rank over females, and Beatrice's boys and girls will climb the social ladder. Everyone picks on whoever is under them. The shady trees where the baboons pass out the hottest parts of the day are shared with a band of mongooses. These little members of the weasel family have close-knit families, much like the baboons. When the gang take a siesta, they find their tiny friends getting rather personal. The mongooses are mostly insect eaters, and as the baboons forage, they disturb bugs that the little hunters can pick off. But once the baboons rest, the curious mongoose goes straight to the source, picking off any unsuspecting flea or tick. Sometimes this grooming service gets a bit too intense. Bob's far too manly to have little weasels cleaning his fur. Generally, baboons and mongooses live peacefully side by side. But when the band goes on the move, their sheer number can be a bit intimidating. Barry's a bit taken aback. Barry's bark is worse than his bite, though. and he soon faces the wrath of an angry bunch of mongooses. But the band is unperturbed and continues on their way. Travelling in gangs, they protect their babies and are almost invincible. Almost. The pesky elephants are back. But this time it's the mongooses that have to put up with their mischief. It seems the elephants just want to remind their neighbours who is in charge. No matter how great the size difference. As the season wears on and the surrounding area dries out, the baboons exploit another of their neighbours. They know that where there is a warthog, there's water. The hardy pigs get through the dry season by excavating boreholes to reach underground water supplies. All Bob and the gang have to do is wait. This is the typical life for baboons across the African continent, making the most of the plants and animals that share their home, always adapting to get through change. But the clan is starting to sponge off another, less obliging neighbour. The baboons live in a national park, close to the fence that keeps them safe. On the other side of the fence, an ever-growing human community uses the land for both livestock and crops. The fence is designed to keep people out and wildlife in, but there are always loopholes, and where a warthog's made a hole, baboons could follow. The troop retires to its roost on top of a rocky outcrop. They always sleep here, high above the grassland and away from most predators. They groom one another before bed, a chance to reaffirm their close bonds. Their survival depends on friendships. From an early age, the baboons are expected to work on friendships. Young Beanie reaches out to Bart. But it's a ruthless system of hierarchy. Bart is low-ranking, and Beatrice moves her baby away. As the clan settles for the night, the view that lies before them is one of a changing world. Gradually, the grassland has given way to a sea of crops, a sea change that's hard to ignore. Dawn brings about changes for the colony. Today, they are going to try something new. Bob leads the way to the fence. In their twilight raid, they slip through the defences. They've discovered a new drinking place in human territory and line up at the bar. The troughs were built for cattle, but now they have to make way for the baboon bandits. It's not easy for little Belle to get to, but for everyone else, it's bliss. Well, apart from the cattle. Clean, fresh water. It's quite the luxury after the warthog's muddy puddle. But the baboons don't realise the danger they're in. It's a great meeting place, Even Bart has a new friend. Though Barry's left feeling a bit sheepish. By the time the sun's up, the baboons are back on their own side of the fence, and the farmers are none the wiser. But this first taste of the good life is just the beginning. The fields of maize are ripe for the picking. Bob and Barry scan the joint from a treetop, formulating a plan. Women work the fields, but they have to spend most of the time with their heads down. It's all a question of timing. Bob leads the assault, slipping under the fence in silence. Some of the youngsters stay behind, egging the clan on from the sidelines. Skulking around the edge of the field, the adults bide their time. These juicy treats are just too tempting. Then it happens, a smash and grab. One by one, they snatch the loot. Stuffing their faces. But Barry decides one is not enough. Too much lingering. They've been spotted. The stress gets to Barry, and he lashes out at Betty. The troop scatters as help arrives from the village. By nightfall, the well-fed clan is back on its rock. Baboons are highly intelligent. They know they are onto a good thing. And the next morning finds them up early and making their way to the farm. But this time there is a glitch in their plans. Can their bandit skills get them past an armed guard? Bob's baboon clan have worked out that farms surrounding their national park home are a great source of free food and water. But have they worked out how to deal with the owners? For some reason, women don't intimidate the troops, but men do, even little ones. The gang are going to need to keep their wits about them. By spreading out, they widen their options. Barry flanks to the east, and while the boys eye Bob, the east attacks. Taking it in turns, they outsmart the border patrol time and time again. For weeks, the raiding continues. The farmers do their best to keep the monkeys at bay. They are losing their livelihoods to the bandits. Having developed a taste for maize and enjoying a seemingly endless crop, Bob and the boys are getting fussy. They pick every cob they can, unwrap it to check, but only eat the ripest. The rest goes to waste. The clan leaves a trail of devastation. But it doesn't stop there. Now exiting the park on a daily basis, the troop has spotted a new frontier, a foot in the door, so to speak. The bandits strike again. This time Bob is breaking and entering for his fix of human food. Humans have the sweetest food for miles around. Like a kid in a candy store, he grabs as much as he can carry. But then he returns with reinforcements. While the women are busy working, their houses are being emptied. This life of crime comes at a cost. Being on the receiving end of the baboon bandits can devastate small communities. Without crops, they lose their small incomes and will have to go without food, books, clothing, and essentials. However, the maize fields are gradually depleted and the baboon gang must rethink their strategy. By spending a lot of time around people, baboons soon spot our weaknesses and are quick to exploit them. They can be remarkably inventive. This is a dangerous game that keeps a young male on the edge of his seat. Human hitchhikers wait by the roadside. A little further along the verge, and baboons appear to be doing the same. They aren't looking for a free ride, so what's their fascination with the potentially deadly traffic? The lookout spots a suitable vehicle, and the plan is put into operation. Is this a suicide mission? Or a cunning plan to get the car to stop? The first attempt fails, but they persist. And finally, a car full of suckers are brought to a standstill. The baboons have learned that if they sit looking appealing on the roadsides, passers-by might feel inclined to stop and offer free food. They are quite happy to perform for the tourists. The troop is even willing to beg. Behind the sweet and innocent eyes are animals capable of causing serious injuries to unwary road users. But these people are from out of town, and by feeding, they encourage bad habits. The enterprising primates have even learned to recognize higher class vehicles for a better quality snack.
Watch out, watch out.
The roadside is not a great place to bring up baby. The roar of traffic is a constant threat. There must be safer ways to make a living. One thing that any observant monkey might not fail to notice is that humans are messy creatures. On the edge of town, the clan discover a treasure trove of rubbish. It's every baboon's dream come true. Twice a day, great cartloads of delicious waste is poured out. Let the banquet begin. The baboons aren't the only ones to cash in. Guinea fowl, warthogs and marabou storks join them for the feast. Bob and his gang move into what must be, in a baboon's eyes, the promised land. Beanie clings tightly as Beatrice wades through the rubbish, claiming the queen's share of the treasure. That's if the marabous don't get there first. Betty's found a courgette, a real treat, though she rolls it like any of her old thorny meals in the bush. Old habits die hard. Bart's still looking for playmates. Hoglets seem willing to play along. They are not keen on all the neighbours, though. Marabou storks will eat anything they can swallow, even baby baboons. Beatrice makes her feelings clear. The gang are curious about the bizarre assortment of man-made objects, and there is one thing in particular that catches their eye. Most animals fail to recognize their own reflection, but Blossom stares intently. Of all the junkyard treasures, mirrors are the most prized possessions. Baboons are curious by nature and examine their entire surroundings through the glass reflection. But how it's interpreted by their intelligent minds, we may never know. Certainly they want to see what the reflection holds. Glass isn't as good as a mirror. But they have figured out that if they clean it, the reflection improves. Bart follows Barry's lead. And then it's just a case of getting the angle right. There are so many toys to play with. And new ones arrive every day. The perfect plastic playpen. But nothing lasts forever. The landfill is burned on a daily basis, so the gang must act fast. It's a bit intimidating for Bart and the other youngsters, but Barry is quite happy to pick around the flames. But the flames alone are not the main danger. It's the flammable goods that are dumped with the food. Mixing explosives with dinner is never a good idea. No baboon wants to go out with a bang. Rummaging in rubbish dumps is a dangerous pastime for Bob's baboon clan. Sharp cans, broken glass and explosives can cause injuries, but with this sea of nutritious treats, it's worth the risk. With a guaranteed supply of fatty and sugary food, the monkeys don't need to spend as much time searching for every fallen seed as they did on the plains. There is more downtime for playing. And sleeping. Though after a few weeks, there are signs that Barry and some of the other older members of the troop are getting a bit lazy, and perhaps a tad overweight. There are other changes too. The gang is getting greedy and rowdy, fighting over every scrap. Like people living on top of each other in built-up areas, it seems that this new urban lifestyle is causing an increased level of stress. Usually, baboons use facial expressions and posturing to ease tensions long before a fight breaks out. But now fuses are short, and stressed-out monkeys are quick to fight. Bob and Barry have always been close, working together to look after their gang. But now, they are at each other's throats. At first glance, this is a land of opportunity, where the streets are paved with edible gold. But the truth is that all the stress and dangers are taking their toll. This is not the quality of life that our gang is used to. There must be more to living than garbage. Bob leads the gang on. Constant passing of enthusiastic, food-bearing tourists and the mountains of tasty rubbish that arrive by the barrelful leave a trail that eventually take the clan to the source.
Cold drinks and a swim.
Very nice.
Now this is more like it. Well-manicured lawns, fresh water on tap. It's even on a baby-sized pole so Blossom can help herself. Other larger primates tuck into gourmet food. And thanks to careless sunbathers, there is plenty spare for a gang of baboons. Bob and Barry seem to have patched things up and lead the clan into their new luxury home. Bart and his playmates have novel means of getting about. With a gymnasium for the kids, the older baboons can enjoy a quiet drink by the pool, or from the pool. Though glasses are available. Beanie and Blossom play. Once again, life is sweet. Months have passed, and Bob's clan has well and truly gone from rags to riches. The whole troop has settled on the edge of town, sitting on the fence, literally, between the riches of human handouts and the natural resources of the national park. There are still a few skirmishes with the locals. The gang of bandits caused their share of problems stealing food and crops. But this town is next to the hotel. Much of its income comes not from the crops, but from tourists that have come to see wildlife. Bob's gang have become the stars of the show. Crowds gather on the edge of the park. The baboons move freely in and out, and here people and monkeys can examine one another safely. Thanks to the open space and bountiful supplies, levels of stress have eased off. The boys, Bob and Barry, are back running the family together. Belle's going up in the world and down again. And Bart's now getting quite large and independent. Little Blossom no longer clings to her mother Beatrice, though she will always enjoy the high status of her bloodline. But even for the underdogs, life is good. From the bandits that were destroying livelihoods or the rubbish-tip raiders, it's been a balancing act, but the clan has finally settled. Unlike many areas where humans and wildlife clash, here people seem willing to give their new neighbours a chance, enthralled by the troops' intelligence and charm. The clan was lucky. Now they bask in the limelight. As they play games a human audience can watch, the bandits exhibit many special traits. They are the winning team. There's some serious competition, some squabbling, some close friendships. All in all, they are not all that unlike us. Perhaps they have finally got the balance right, sticking to a semi-traditional baboon lifestyle, yet encompassing the changes of a modern world. Thanks to their adaptability, Bob's clan has landed on its feet. The future's bright for this troop of baboon bandits.